Shalom. First, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kwadash. And this is going to be a little lesson on what's going on in the world as far as geopolitics. You got where the U.S. invaded Venezuela, and captured Maduro, kidnapped him. And the Venezuelans, so-called Venezuelans, are the Asherites from the tribe of Asher. It's part of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. You so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans. And you see how your brother E, your father the devil, the so-called white man, does you. He go down there and just say, hey, you're a criminal, you're selling drugs, and we got to take you out of power. So this is what this man does. He makes and breaks rules. He always moves the goalposts. Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, is the damn devil that the Bible speaks about. He is the Bible. He's the Bible. He's the devil that's written in the Bible, man. He's Satan in the flesh. And you people, you nations, the heathens, and our people, the so-called Negro, Latino, so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, you love this dirtbag, this scoundrel, known as Esau Edom, the so-called white man. And as you see, he hasn't changed. He's still that same bandit, thief, and scoundrel. He's never going to change his ways, man. He don't know how to. Scriptures say, can a leopard change his spots? And the answer is no. And neither can Esau Edom, the so-called white man. He cannot help himself but be wicked and evil, a thief and a liar, man. That's in his DNA. It's in his spirit. So this is no shock to the man of the Lord. But to you people, you're all outraged about what's going on. You can't believe that happened. Why can't you, man? He been doing what the hell he wanted since he came out of Petra. And he's going to continue to do it until Yahweh Shai comes back and knock this so-called white man out of power, man. That's when it's going to stop. When his ass finally get locked down in them chains, them fetters of iron. So there's no point to have a so-called UN meeting and people get up in arms about it, which is all a show, because the UN and all that, is ran by, the Rothschilds, man. They just showing that, that they have some kind of disagreement, but they all in agreement with taking Venezuela, man. They all work for the bankers. Let's get some precepts. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and will eat. So this is Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of the hand. So it's in the power of the hand of the Edomites right now to do what they doing, to rob, steal, and kill, chiefly the tribe of Amalek. They run the board. They control you mayo sandwich eating Edomites, man. The Amalekites are from the house of Edom. and they running the board. But the scripture just said, hey, the power is in their hand. And it says, destruction to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. So yeah, they think about all this stuff to do to you so-called Negro, Latinos, or Native Americans, how to get you to keep going off from your power, from the Most High Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua. You know, they come up with all these ways to, put abominations in your food, advertise abominations, put Moism on the TV, to subliminally, get you to go off, man. They putting all kind of voodoo and magic on these games and these concerts and these movies. Steadily getting you to go off from your power, and you so-called Negro, Latinos, or Native Americans, man, just love it. You love it to death. You can't get a fucking nothing. Can't get a fucking enough of it. So let's go on. Sluggy, hold on. So yeah, and it says the power is in their hand because the Most High Yahweh has given them the power to rule. This is Esau Edom's season, his time to rule. So it's not that he's so great, and he's so bad and can't be stopped. No, the Most High setteth up kings and removeth kings, roughly paraphrasing. So he set up this cracker known as Esau Edom, the so-called white man, to rule. And right now he's in the season to do it, and the Most High is going to let him do whatever he needs to do, man, in order to fulfill prophecy. He still got to use Esau Edom to, get this World War III going, to put Jacob's trouble on you tribes. So this man still has some use, if you will, on the planet. He's the ultimate perfect devil, man. Let's go to verse 2, Micah 2:2. And they covet fields and take them by violence. So yeah, Esau Edom covet fields, man. The Edomites, they covet fields. They coveted Venezuela, their oil, their natural resources. And they took it by violence. They came in with the Delta Force, kidnapped Maduro, which he may or may not be a Jake, But the way he was talking all reckless across this, against the tiny hats, he just might be a Jake, man. So they came down there and got his ass, man. And Trump said, hey, as far as who runs Venezuela, the U.S. runs it. So yeah, they covet fields and take them by violence. It says, and houses, they ran up in Maduro house. Well, he had his house like on a military base. They ran up in there, man. And any other houses, man, they'll come and take your shit and say it's theirs, like they did the so-called Native Americans. They came in here and plopped their ass down on the land and killed them and say, hey, this is our land now. It says, so they oppress a man and his heritage. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. Yeah, so they doing that to this day still. They stand their red asses up in Israel saying, hey, they the true chosen people, man. And the whole time they oppress you so-called Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, telling you nothing but niggas, spics, your Indians, your Africans, you were swinging from vines. They beat it out of you. They went down and tried to cover it up in the museums and history. And they took their stinking red, pale looking asses over there and they say they the people now. So they oppress a man, his house and his heritage, man, and say, hey, you not the people, we are. Verse 3, therefore, thus says Yahweh, behold, against this family to do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, shall you go heartily, for this time is evil. And pretty much the point was in verse 1 and 2. So yeah, this is what Esau Edom does, man. This is his MO, to be a crook, thief, liar, just a piece of shit. Sleazy E, man. He's a con man, he's a bully, and he's a killer, man. And he's not gonna change until his ass get burned up, man. Spoken about in Obadiah. But I just wanted to put a video out, man. It was on my spirit to do a quick video. And I pray the video was edifying to the Sensiakim, the elect. Shalom, hang on, man. We almost out of here. Before I get out of here, I'm going to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. Shalom.